because apparently this is a thing. Like and subscribe. So, the Nintendo Switch. People are excited and they have every right to be. It's new, it's fresh and tasty. It's the future in the palm of your hand. Personally, I'm relatively excited. I want to see what Nintendo has to bring. I normally do, but I don't always buy into their products. But I can stand reasonably that the bulk of their stuff is of quality to some audiences out there. I'll be honest, when I first heard of the Wii, the name made me giggle. And frankly, it still does. It also came out at an odd time in my life, so the knowledge and nostalgia isn't as deeply rooted as others out there, but that's a story for another time. Like most of us, I grew up with Nintendo in some fashion or the other. For myself, I was a Sega kid growing up. In terms of handhelds, I did love my Tiger Electronics, Game Gear, but the one that took the cake as a system of choice personally were the Game Boy Advance, 2DS, and the 3DS. I don't own a new 3DS, so my knowledge on that is thin, but their handhelds always rock. I don't imagine they'd be anything less than the best for on-the-go fun. Either way, what do I think of the Switch? Will it succeed? Will it fail? Or will it be lukewarm at best? I'm no soothsayer, and my connections are thin, so my opinion is simply an opinion and analysis of the gaming industry from years of being a mostly observant consumer. Now let's get one thing straight. I've never been in the camp of wild preachers yelling out Nintendo-doomed prophecies for the past 20 plus years. And believe me, I've heard the same tune over and over again. Nintendo-doomed because of the PS1, Nintendo-doomed with the Genesis, Nintendo-doomed with the Xbox, Nintendo-doomed with the PS2. 3, 4, 5, 13, 7 was the best, who cares? The Ouya will change the world! My thoughts exactly. It don't matter. Nintendo may not be in the best of positions at the moment, or even in the past, but they'll find a way, one way or the other, they usually do. So for that department, I'm not entirely worried about them. That's of course unless if everything they touch flops for the next 5 to 10 years, then yeah, Nintendo doomed, and many tears will be shed. But let's not forget, with the Wii U and the new 3DS, sales have been stale, but that falls into bad marketing with Nintendo. They hit and miss. When they miss, it's evident, and their products suffer. When they hit hard. The NES, Game Boy, Wii, and DS lines did phenomenal. So historically, Nintendo has it in them to be huge. But what of the Switch? Here's my prediction. Once said, I'll go into detail on why I think my prediction will occur. With current information based on pricing numbers, the Switch will break out of the gate strong. It won't be number one, but it'll do well with those first couple months. People will preach Nintendo-doomed prophecies as per usual, but the numbers won't lie. I think it'll sell well. I'm going to hazard a guess of 2 to 3 million copies, maybe pushing 5 within the first 2 months if things go really well, which, for that time of the year, are good numbers. But by the time better games start coming out of the woodwork and holiday titles start being announced, come Black Friday, sales will creep near the level of the Xbox One, or at least come to equal grounds with the Xbox One, minus 5 or so million units, surpassing the Wii U. Let's say at least selling 13 to 15 million up to that point, conservatively. But here's a variable that may play for or against the Switch. If the PS4 Pro doesn't fix its running issues with older titles, the average gamer may look at the two and side with the Switch because of reliability. Of course, fanboys are fanboys, and PlayStation fans will be on the side of the PS4, while the Xbox boys will side with the Scorpio. PC players don't count. They won't be happy with any console. Though the funny thing about the Switch is its overall appeal. Now you may be thinking, hey Pong, creep on the tail of the Xbox One surpassed the Wii U? All before its year mark? Really? Now, I'm sorry to say this, since I'm a bigger Xbox fan than PlayStation, the numbers are kinda sad. The Wii U may have a paltry 13 million or so units sold, but the Xbox One isn't far ahead with only 23 million in comparison to the PS4's 45. To put things into perspective, the Xbox One is still about a million units behind the original Xbox. That's 3 years in. Personally, I doubt it'll pass the Atari 2600 by the end of this year, who sits at 27 million, and more points. It's been 3 years! The GameCube didn't do very well, but it's only a million behind the Xbox One. The Xbox One is sitting with the likes of GameCube at the moment, and that's a bitter pill to swallow. Also, sales on Gear 4 may have given the Xbox One a small boost. Let's face it, the game market is changing. For titles on the Switch, Zelda will go strong, and if Nintendo brings another solid new Super Mario Bros. Or even hybrid with Mario Maker, that Mario game will sell around maybe 25 million copies come 3 years into the life cycle of the Switch, give or take 5 million, which frankly isn't too shabby for a Mario title. If Nintendo is launching smart, which I'm getting that they are, special $300 bundles with the Switch will be a choice between Zelda, Breath of the Wild, probably Mario Kart, maybe an updated Smash Bros. Or Splatoon, or perhaps even a special edition Dragon Quest X or 11. And yes, $300 is a seemingly high price, but that's a $300 bundle, $250 for the basic console. Then, once the Steam starts rolling, come Christmas and holiday time, sales will skyrocket as different bundles helps its numbers. Maybe we'll start seeing that Smash Bros. Or Mario Galaxy installment, or even that Dragon Quest bundle around this point. Will it be as big as the Wii or the PS2? Probably not, but I'm not sure. Those are lofty goals. But if the Switch does even half of what the DS did by the end of its life cycle, it'll be marked as a success. Come the second year of its life cycle in 2018, I expect the Switch to be one of the best-selling consoles at that moment in time. It'll be viewed as a reliable handheld and console system that caters to the bulk of the gaming community. At this point, some sort of Pokemon title will probably blast its sales a little further, and in a perfect world, even Pilot Wings will do well. Just kidding, that's a lie. The game's fun, but it'll never be a high seller. So where am I getting these numbers and predictions? To what strange hole of my body is this information being pulled from? No. I digress. Here's the numbers. The general consensus is that the Switch will do one of two things. Handheld fans and handheld games will bolster sales. DS, 3DS, and maybe PS Vita gamers will jump on board with the new hardware alongside Nintendo console fans. Or, on the flip side of the coin, the awkward, gimmicky nature of recent at-home consoles will break the success of the Switch, with sales numbers only slightly better than the Wii U or equal, which is bad for Nintendo. But chances are, Game Freak won't really mess up a mainstream Pokemon game, and Nintendo won't mess up a main titled Zelda game. It'll be good to some extent. On top of that, excitement for Zelda Breath of the Wild is pretty big. With the unfortunate turn of events of No Man's Sky being the biggest game of 2017, people want good things and Zelda is pretty to look at. That came off creepy, but you know what I mean. Maybe a franchise that holds a dear place in many people's hearts will warm them up to the Switch. But even if Zelda isn't as awesome as people had hoped for, people would have already bought the Switch, so they'll want to get a game that better suits their fancy. I'm hoping to see that Toe Jam and Earl remake hit the Nintendo eShop. But who knows, that's probably not going to happen. Either way, along with public appeal, nearly everyone who holds a voice to the gaming community is excited or positive with the Switch. As Jim Sterling, Laura K. Buzz, and Gavin Dunnell had agreed with on the Podquisition, that clicking sound is beautiful. It plays into the guttural, early-age soothingness that ASMR YouTubers strive for. I won't be surprised that if the Switch does do well, ASMR YouTubers record that sound on a high-end mic for your rest and relaxation. Even Pat the NES Punk, retro fanboy, is seemingly interested, and he's not the easiest audience to convince on a new product. Nintendo has said in a press release that they would bet that they would sell 2 million units in the first few weeks. That's according to Business Insider. It's also been confirmed by multiple news sources that the proposed price point of the Switch will start at $250. And frankly, a $250 to $300 selling price for a new console is cheap when compared to systems like the PS4 or Xbox One, which normally run around $300 to $400 new. This is frankly all good news for Nintendo. Whether you agree or disagree with me on my prediction is a moot point though, I suppose. If you believe it'll do well, you won't disagree otherwise. And if you think it'll flop, I probably can't convince you otherwise. Either way, my prediction is that it'll do well, and by the end of 2017, it'll be a major contender in the gaming market. I feel like I'm quoting Jim Sterling a bit too much on this one, but am I certain that my optimistic prediction will come true? I don't know. Nintendo is hard to predict, because they're unpredictable. Hope you enjoyed this little thought train, and tell me what you think of my Sensei's Sensual Thoughts segment. Until next time, SENSEI Pong signing out.